Hello world, welcome back.
This is the second iteration in my series of explaining all of the Pack-a-Punch names, and we are already, I say already as if last video wasn't short enough, already on Black Ops 1. And now Black Ops 1 is one of my favorite Call of Duties, I'd say, probably for zombies just because kind of what introduced me into the series. I think I started on Black Ops 1. I mean, I have fond memories of World at War, but I believe my parents at the time were both playing World at War and Black Ops 1 simultaneously, or maybe I'm misremembering because of the World at War maps were just, transferred into Black Ops 1 later down the line. But anyways, we are here talking about Black Ops 1 weapons. Now, Black Ops 1 has a few categories. We've got the handgun category, we've got assault rifles, we've got submachine guns, we've got light machine guns, we've got sniper rifles, shotguns, launchers, specials, and then wonder weapons. Of course, every Call of Duty Zombies game mode has to have some wonder weapons in there. So we're looking at a total of 48 weapons, which is a lot of weapons, almost double of World at War. So, although it is to be expected, considering that Black Ops 1 has a lot of World at War weapons too, so let's dive straight into this. Firstly, we've got the classic handguns. Handguns is probably my favorite category in every game, I think. Every game, my favorite, I think just in general, my favorite weapon class in general is just handguns, pistols. Pistols have so much personality and so much flair to it, especially when you start getting into the newer CODs and you start looking at some of the weapon inspects. Some of them can be quite flamboyant, I might say. Anyways, we've got 4 handguns in Black Ops 1, and let's start them off. So starting off, we've got the CZ75, which Pack-a-Punches into Calamity. Now, this is the better half of the duo. Calamity is part of a bigger picture, but I'm going to cover what this word means by itself since the single pistol is considered a different weapon to the dual wield. So, Calamity itself is an event causing a great and commonly quick disaster. As for the CZ75 dual wield, that Pack-a-Punches into the Calamity and Jane. Calamity Jane refers to an American frontierswoman, riflewoman, and storyteller. Moving on, we've got the M1911. Now, this is the classic M1911 that actually does Pack-a-Punch into the Mustang and Sally. Now, Mustang and Sally is in reference to a 1966 song, Mustang Sally, by Wilson Pickett. The cover art of this game, the soldier is holding 2 of these M1911s. The left one has the name Sally engraved into it. Next, we've got the Python, which Pack-a-Punches into Cobra. Cobra is playing the same name game as the unupgraded version of this gun, as both are named after types of snakes. Moving on to the assault rifles category, we start dealing with some weapons that we've seen in World at War. Specifically, the Gewehr 43, which Pack-a-Punches into G115 compressor, M1 carbine, which Pack-a-Punches into the Witterson's RC1, STG-44, which Pack-a-Punches into Spats 447+. All of these are the exact same in Black Ops 1. If you want to learn about the Pack-a-Punch names themselves and what they mean, go ahead and check out my World at War version, where I cover all of those weapon names. So, moving on to our 4th assault rifle, we've got the AUG. Now, the AUG Pack-a-Punches into the AUG-50M3. This is just a combination of AUG and awesome in lead speak, meaning it's pronounced awesome. Next, we've got the Commando, which Pack-a-Punches into Predator. So both of these names may be a reference to Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Predator, along with Commando, being both movies in which he stars in. Then we've got the FAMAS. This weapon Pack-a-Punches into G16-GL35. It took me a minute to see this, but after translating from LeetSpeak, it turns into giggles. Next, we've got the FNFAL. This Pack-a-Punches into EPCWN. or Epic Win. At least, that's what I think it's short for. I think it's short for Epic Win, just as the non-pack-a-punched F and FAL is likely fucking fail. So I think it's fucking fail, then it pack-a-punches into Epic Win. Then we've got the G11. This is a pretty simple one. It pack-a-punches into G115 Generator. This is an obvious reference to Element 115. Then we've got my beloved Galil, which pack-a-punches into Lamentation. Now, lamentation means the passionate expression of sorrow, mourning, or regret. I don't really know why this gun has this name, but I like it. Next, we've got the M14, which pack-a-punches into Amnesia, which sounds like amnesia, which is a medical condition where the victim loses their memory. The M14 is upgraded into Amnesia, which is a medical condition where the victim loses their memory. The M14, pack-a-punched, is called the Amnesia, which is a medical condition where the victim loses their memory. The last assault rifle we've got is the M16, which pack-a-punches into Skull Crusher. The bursts from this gun just crush heads when you place your sights on them. That's pretty much it. Now we move on to the submachine guns category, which we have 3 World at War weapons as well. The MP40, which pack-a-punches into the Afterburner. The Thompson turns into Gibbs-O-Matic, and the Type 100, which turns into 1001 Samurais, all of which you can see in my previous video. So the submachine guns introduced in Black Ops 1 start with the AK-74U. This weapon pack-a-punches into the AK-74FU2. This can be read as AK-74 Fuck You 2. Next we've got the MP5K, which pack-a-punches into the MP115 Collider. MP115 is a Element 115 reference. Collider with a K, because of the MP5K, is just because the bullets collide with the Zombozos. Then we've got the MPL. This turns into MPL-LF. I think this is just a shortened version of Maple Leaf, just like the FNFAL. Next we have the PM63. This turns into dual wield and becomes Tokyo and Rose. The name relates to Tokyo Rose, which is a generic name given to female Japanese propaganda broadcasters during World War II. Lastly, we have Spectre, which turns into Phantom. This is pretty simple. Both of these just relate to types of ghosts, just like the Cobra and Python. Next, we have the light machine guns, which we do have one from World at War, although I'm surprised it's considered a light machine gun. This is the FG-42, which again turns into 420 Impeller. If you want to see the explanation of that name, just go on to that World at War video. Moving on, we have the HK-21, which pack-a-punches into the H115 oscillator. Now, H115 is a reference to 115, but I'm not exactly sure what an oscillator is. However, I do know it relates to the other weapon, which is the RPK. The RPK turns into R115 resonator. Now, resonator and oscillator are somehow related in circuitry. Hopefully somebody in that field can leave a comment expanding on those definitions. Although it's pretty easy to point out the Element 115 reference in both of those names. This brings us to the sniper rifles category, which we do have the appearance of Kar 98K, which means Armageddon comes again. We also have the Dragunov, which pack-a-punches into another 115 reference, the D115 Disassembler. At least Disassembler is new, but holy cow, I am kinda sick of these 115 references. Which brings us straight to the next sniper rifle, which is the L96A1. Which of course pack-a-punches into another 115 reference, that being the L115 isolator. Now, an isolator is supposedly a device that's used for isolating in a circuit or equipment from a source of power. I don't know, there's a lot of circuitry-based names in this game, as well as 115 references, goddamn. Now we get to talk about shotguns, which of course we do have the 2 shotguns from World at War, the double-barrel shotgun, or the 24-bore long range if you pack-a-punched it, and the M1897 trench gun, which turns into gut shot. Moving on to the Black Ops 1 specific ones, we've got the HS-10, which PaP punches into Typhoid and Mary. This is a reference to Mary Mallon, who was referred to as Typhoid Mary. The odd thing is that Typhoid, the left-hand gun, makes the original gunfire sound, while Mary, the right, makes the laser sound common on PaP-punched weapons. Moving on, we've got the Olympia, which PaP punches into Hades. Hades is the name of a Greek god. He's known as being the god of the dead and the underworld. He was banished from Olympus, which this weapon is closely named to. The reference is further implied with the addition of dragon breath shells, as the underworld is shown to be a land covered in fire and lava. Then we have the Spaz 12, which is probably my favorite Black Ops 1 shotgun. Yeah, I think it's my favorite. Which PaP punches into the Spaz 24. Just like the 24 bore long range change, the S is also changed into Z, which I don't really know why, besides maybe Z standing for zombies. Or just because Spaz, S-P-A-S, is pronounced as Spaz, S-P-A-Z. The last shotgun we're covering is the Stakeout. Now the Stakeout PaP punches into Raid. So this is a funny reference to opposites. A stakeout is in which one is waiting in one place for something to happen, whereas a raid is a sudden and unexpected search and attack on a location. Both are police tactical actions. Moving on to the least used category in zombies, the launchers, where we start off with China Lake. China Lake PaP punches into China Beach. A China Beach would have a lot more water and everything than a China Lake, so I think that's all it means. The other launcher is the M72 Law, which PaP punches into the M72 Anarchy. This is another play on opposites, anarchy being the opposite of law or lawful. This brings us to the second to last category, being the specials. We're going to be talking about the specials in a second, but look at this.
China Lake. We got the China Lake in the box right after talking about it in the video.
Anyways, we're going to start with the ballistic knife, which PaP punches into the Kraus Refibrillator. The Kraus Refibrillator is a shout out to defibrillators, which are used by people to restore heartbeats. The crazy twist is this. When shot at a downed player, it revives them instantly. Whereas if you're down, there was a glitch that made it instantly down them when you hit them with the ballistic knife if you were downed. This glitch likely happened due to the mechanic of giving the shot player the same status as the one with the ballistic knife. And of course, this video happens to be a magnet for something ridiculous to happen like this, where I get downed right after talking about getting downed. Ugh, what are the odds? Now we're moving on to the crossbow, which PaP punches into Awful Lawton. This weapon also has a special effect, fan favorite. The crossbow shoots little monkey bombs. The only thing I can make from this name is that it sounds an awful lot like what I just said, an awful lot. While I was double checking my work here, I did a quick Google search for Awful Lawton just to see if there was a person who has this name, and I found this Reddit post, which was asking the exact question of what Awful Lawton means, specifically for Call of Duty. And I found a couple of answers that I wanted to share. So there's this one, which is my favorite, from Extra Life. They say, I always thought it referred to how many zombies would end up on the zone around where you shot it. Like, there's an awful lot in there, which was Treyarch speak for more than 8. And then he goes on to further explain why they used awful lot in regards to the number of zombies killed. And he goes on to explain one bullshit conspiracy theory later. We got the awful Lawton. No one really knows who the actual first person to jot the line down, but according to sources deep in Treyarch's financial department, it was an intern between jobs trying to make his way in a crowded industry. I liked the awful Lawton there speak, but I think I found the actual answer. But first I want to cover a couple of other meanings people have found. So Megaton A thought it might be a reference to Floyd Lawton, who is Deadshot in the DC comics. Newbie1 Kenobi goes on to say, on one of the bots in Black Ops 3, or maybe even BO1 or BO2, there's a bot called A Lawton, so that might be a reference to the developer. Which I do think this guy is spot on, because we've got a much earlier reply than 8 years ago from Suitable Reply from 3 years ago. They say, late to reply, but it was named after my buddy that worked on the zombies side of Call of Duty, Andre Lawton. He came up with the idea for the weapon and was awarded the name. Now, I'm not sure how credible this source is, but if one of the bots is named A. Lawton and they are saying somebody named Andre worked there, I would not be surprised if that were the case and that were true. So I'm going to believe that that is the actual reason behind the name. Which brings us to our final category, the wonder weapons. Now, I'm not going to be covering the ray gun, which is the Porter's ×2 ray gun, and the Wunderwaffe DG2, which is the Wunderwaffe DG3 JZ, as I did cover those in my World at War video. And like I said, I'm not going to be covering weapons that I've already covered in previous videos, and if you are curious about those meanings, you can go check out the videos in which I say they're available in. So the first wonder weapon introduced from Black Ops 1 is the Thunder Gun, which pack-a-punches into Zeus cannon. Zeus is the second Greek god we've talked about. Firstly, Hades. Zeus is the god of the sky, lightning, and thunder, and the king of all the gods. Then we have the Winter's Howl, which pack-a-punches into Winter's Fury. Honestly, I don't think this has any special meaning. Fury is just more intense than Howl. Next, we have the VR-11, which pack-a-punches into the VR-11 Lazarus. VR-11 is spelled suspiciously close to Vril. Now, Vril is an energy that produces life and was featured in Edward Bulwer-Lytton's science fiction novel, The Coming Race. It may also refer to the Vril generator, which must be obtained during Call of the Dead's main Easter egg. Lazarus comes from a character from the Bible about a man resurrected by Jesus, relating to the fact that you can shoot zombies to turn them back into humans again and attract zombies. Also on Call of the Dead, we've got the Scavenger, which pack-a-punches into Hyena Infradead. Hyena refers to hyenas being scavengers, as well as being a reference to its creator, Harvey H. Yenna, who was an American spy within Group 935. Infradead is a play on the word infrared and its infrared scope. Okay, so this one is called 31-79JGB215, which pack-a-punches into a much easier to pronounce name, the Fractalizer. Because the base name is so difficult to remember, this has led to players giving it nicknames like Baby Maker, Baby Gun, Shrink Ray, but Fractalizer refers to a fractal, or a repeating pattern at different scales, which is in reference to the gun's ability to make the same pattern at a different scale, being the zombies at a smaller size. Now the next gun, or guns, is the Wave Gun, which pack-a-punches into Max Wave Gun. So this weapon was made by Max Porter, who designed the original ray gun in World at War, who also H. Porter made Lorewise. And the alternative is the Zap Gun Dual Wield, which pack-a-punches into Porter's ×2 Zap Gun Dual Wield, which follows the same reference as the Wave Gun being Max Porter. And that concludes the Black Ops 1 weapons pack-a-punch names explained. I'm surprised I was able to get through all of those weapons in just under 20 minutes, but I'm pretty impressed. So, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and subscribe if you want to see the subsequent videos once I start covering Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, even Infinite Warfare. I'm going to cover Infinite Warfare and even Modern Warfare Zombies, which is going to be a giant video because it's got Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2 weapons combined. So, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you when I see you.